I learned early on that apparently I really suck at hiring people.
Hey there, and welcome to the Fear Factor, the podcast that shines a light on real stories, smart strategies, and the occasional hard truth about running a business. Think of this as your quick dose of clarity before your first cup of coffee. Let's go. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Trevor Pope. He's my client, he's my friend, runs a very successful company. It's called Conserva Irrigation of North Houston. So, hey, thank you for taking the time. I want to walk through your journey today from corporate to business
Sure.
owner. And then I want to talk about what you're doing, and you got some exciting stuff, and so we'll go down that road. So
Yeah.
so here we go. So first question: you spent a lot of time in corporate. You're an engineer, correct?
Perhaps.
Love solving problems. How did you go from engineer and you ran a team and you did all these things to business owner? What was that journey like?
Yeah, that's a long story, but I'll try and summarize. Yeah, I spent 27 years in the oil and gas world. 21 of those years was with a privately held company based out of Canada. Um, I spent, yeah, I started with that company as a sales engineer. My background though was engineering and the technical side of things. And so over time, the owner of this particular company, he understood people. And I was young and dumb, full of myself, but he saw in me potential. And over the 20 years I worked with him and for him, he allowed me to really ex- develop potential and develop opportunities and look for leadership opportunities. And he pushed me in certain directions, which ultimately led me back into a pure engineering role, which I absolutely enjoyed doing. Got into theoretical engineering for downhole mud motors and eventually led me to developing and building an elastomer development lab here in Houston, and then working with our German
Wow.
group, managing research and development projects for production and new rubber technology. So loved it. COVID changed the world. And
Mm.
in that period of time, I'd actually been going back to school online while I was in Germany because it gave me something to do on the weekend. So I was working towards a bachelor's degree at that point. I've got a Canadian degree from Alberta, but wanted to work on something here, started plugging away at it. COVID happened and shut everything down. Obviously, that changed a few things. But in this process, my wife and I had been talking, like most people our age starts talking, is like, what are we going to do in retirement? We had known, and we've just instinctively just kind of known that we really didn't want to hedge our bets just on the 401k and the stock market. Um, Good and bad there. We dabbled in real estate, but at the end of the day, I've known, and we've both known that the path to financial freedom is business ownership.
Mm.
And great, but I'm an engineer. I and when I look at business ownership, I was like, yeah, I can solve a problem, but how do I market? How do I hire people? How do I manage the books? I mean, there's so much more to a business than just, hey, I've got an idea. So I hadn't really pursued it until a friend of mine put me onto the idea of franchise ownership. And so I met up with a franchise broker, gave him my situation, and he's like, "Yeah, you're perfect for what you're in that ideal frame of life where you're looking to get out." And the thing, I don't know if I was actually looking to get out. I was looking for a
Mm.
vehicle that potentially could carry us through retirement. And so I was looking more at maybe like a semi-absentee ownership type model where I could buy a business and hire the right people and let them run the
Mm.
business. But in this course, of course, with COVID and things changing, and now we're not traveling, and just the dynamics of where I was working, it just came to a point where my role had shifted sufficiently that I just didn't see much of a future. At least doing what I was doing for the next 15 years wasn't going to happen. I'd last about a week.
Yeah.
And so we had looked into a couple of franchises in this process. This particular franchise, Conserva Irrigation, really appealed to me, but I recognized earlier on that it wasn't meant for semi-absentee ownership. It was kind of, you need to be in it. So I'd kind
Yeah,
of written it
for
off
sure.
until the path changed within my career. I'm like, maybe this is a good time to take a change or take a chance and try and jump into business ownership on my own. The franchise model appealed to me because as an engineer, here's a playbook, go execute.
Yeah.
Right. And does it mean I know how to read
Yeah.
P&Ls yet? No, but it tells me what a P&L is and how to go buy my inventory and how to hire give me a job description on how to hire technicians. And so at least it was a starting point. And so my wife and I made the decision. I retired from my oil and gas career and very grateful for the 20 plus years I was with PV Fluid Products. That's who I worked with, and tremendous learning through that period of part of my life, and decided to jump into business ownership. And yeah, here we are. So a little over four, just finished my third year of operations. So
Very
starting up my
nice.
fourth.
Congratulate. What you made it through I mean, most people, it's the first year or two and they're gone, and you obviously are on a different trajectory than that. So
Thank you.
congrats. So, this is like, but this takes, I mean, you're playing it pretty cool, but like, it takes some guts and faith, probably both, or maybe a little bit of stupidity to to go ahead and ditch your job that's paying you a regular and pretty nice salary,
Yes.
and get you a 401k and all that stuff, and cash all that in, and take a risk on your savings and your equity you've built and
Yeah.
wealth, and go in. Well, like that journey, I'm sure there are times when you're like, holy crap.
Oh yeah, I'd be lying to say if I didn't get
I
up some
do.
mornings going, what
Right?
did I do this for? But yeah, I think in general, it's more of I get to get up and do this. But
Yes.
yeah, it's still a journey. There's still plenty of obstacles in front of me. But yeah, these last 3 years, it's been interesting. My brain works on projects. And so
Yes.
doing this, I couldn't leave an open end to it. I had to look at this as a project in order to get my mind wrapped around what we have to do. And
I love that.
yeah,
I love the problem solving idea. It's like you love to solve problems and puzzles and fix things and figure things out. And so like this is just another one.
yeah,
It's just a bigger, more complex one, right?
definitely by far the hardest project I've ever tackled.
Well, I don't know about you, but I feel like I not feel. I absolutely know I've learned more in the last 3 years of business ownership than I had in the last, I don't know, 15 before that,
Yeah.
because you just gotta, you don't have a choice. It's either learn or die, right?
And it's not just about business. It's not
Yes.
just about business. I mean, yes, I've learned a lot about business in these 3 plus years. I've probably learned more about myself in these last 3 years than the previous 27 years doing what I was doing. When it's me and it's my neck on the line, yeah, you've got to be real with yourself. Like, it's
Yes.
what am I doing? Why am I doing this wrong? How do I fix it? What am I doing well? Why am I doing it well? All those variables start coming in, and so yeah, these last 3 years for me have been more yes, professionally 100% growth, but I've probably had more personal growth in these 3 years, just in the overall scope of who I am as a person, understanding my limitations, understanding what I'm good and not good at. And coming into this, I kind of felt I could conquer anything. 3 years into this, like, yeah, okay, I can't conquer this, I need help.
Yeah, it's like if I probably could conquer this, but it's going to take way too
Yeah.
long and cost way too much money and take my focus off of what I really am good at, and that's gonna be really detrimental to the
Yeah.
business and
Yeah.
profit, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What are a couple things that you are like that you learned, throughout these couple of years? You said, "Hey, look, there are problems I can't tackle." What are a couple of those, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, no, I learned early on that apparently I really suck at hiring people. Good or bad, I don't know. HR has never been my strong suit.
Mm.
I mean, and that's something I've learned about my personality over time is just that's part of my character that I'm not strong with. I can see potential, I can see whatever, but it's that constant working with people that I'm not great with, and I'll be the first to admit it. That's something I've learned over the last year and a half. Is there's components of leadership that I'm good at, but there's also components of leadership that I'm not good at. And if I want to continue to develop my team and develop my brand and develop my and achieve my goal, I'm going to have to bring people in that are good at what I'm not good at. So that was one of them. Building my team, making sure I've got the right people in place, uh, building the culture, sure, but it's that constant support, the constant help, the constant on top of it. So that was one part of it. And then for me, a particular aha moment this last year in the last 12 months was um, I actually came across a concept or a book called The Six Working Geniuses and read through it. And who is it by? It's Patrick is his first name. I can see the book up my shelf. It's called The Six Working Genius. Anyway,
Nice.
one of the things that I took away from that is where I was really able to compartmentalize what I enjoy doing, what gives me energy, and what sucks the life out of me.
Yes.
And what sucks the life out of me is what I had been focused on for at least the last 2 years. And it was like, okay, this is sucking the life out of me. I'm getting frustrated. It's not working. I have to step back and say, if I need to grow, I need to grow. That's a critical part of a business. You've got to continue to develop these components. But if it's sucking the life out of me, then it's not going to happen. And so, yeah, it was a big decision I had to make at the end of last year is okay, if I'm going to get this business to grow to that next level, I need help. So I went out and found an operations person then to help me with the day-to-day things so I can focus on developing and working on my business. Um, and a part of that is the whole HR side of it again. And this person, my operations person's great with people, and he's built teams for his career, and that's what he's done. And little things like that. So I'm already finding that the complement is there. I don't have to worry about that component now.
That's
So as we
great.
move into this
Yeah.
year, it's awesome.
Yeah, the whole self-awareness thing is so critical. And I think,
Yeah.
you know, I think there was a time in our world where we're like, oh, we should really work on the stuff we're not good at. And I think that's the wrong idea. Like it's kind of the soar with your strengths. That's a little book that was written probably 20 years ago. But the idea was like, no, let's get workarounds and put people in place to do that kind of stuff. And then let's do what we're really, really good at that gives us energy, and that'll create more
Yeah.
energy, and we can build a business, right? So that's part of what you're talking about here is
Yeah.
like, come on, folks, we gotta. But it's not what you think. It's like we spend so much time concentrating on what we do wrong. Why don't we spend more time on what we do right?
We're good at. And that's where I
Yes.
wasn't at in my business. I was working on the areas of the business that needed my immediate attention. I wasn't doing what I wanted to be doing, which is developing and building this and solving this problem of making a business profitable and viable for who knows what down the road, right?
Yeah. Well, eventually the thing is you're gonna exit it
Someday.
and sell it, or you're gonna exit it and you're gonna be like you said originally, you could be that absentee manager, or you can go somewhere for a
Yeah.
month, or you can hang out with your grandkids. And that's the freedom. Yeah, you want to make money,
Yeah.
of course, and you want to help the world make the world a better place. But you also want that time freedom.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
That's the holy grail on this thing. Okay, so a couple questions I think that I found, at least in my life. Number one, the corporate experience was really helpful. How did you use that to learn?
Corporate experience? Yeah. Obviously, as we go through, I mean, I don't know if everybody does this, but in my life, every time I would get put into a different situation or asked to do something differently, it was a learning opportunity. I mean, from it got to the point where I would be doing sales, high level sales, because they needed somebody technical in front of people. Well, you've got to be able to speak to these people that at their level, but at the same time, you've got to be able to speak to other people at their level. So training became a big part of my background and developing training curriculum for our customers and helping them understand technology, for example. But the corporate I have to be careful because I was in the corporate world, but I worked for a privately held company.
Yep.
And within that structure, I started with him in his eighth year of operations. And so he had that momentum building a very successful company at that point. He ran his business very differently. It wasn't a corporate ladder that we were looking to climb. He was, again, he very, very smart businessman that understood people. And so he would bring in these right personalities, kind of like I'm talking about now, where it's like, hey, I don't want to do this. I can't do this. I need to bring in a personality that can do this. And so that was one of the roles that I fit in the early days with that is some areas of the company he needed help with that he didn't have resources to do, and just started doing it. But I think just those years of experience, uh, learning to adapt to situations. I mean, oil and gas is
Yeah.
very dynamic and very, some areas are very different than others. So you're learning to think quick on your feet, how to provide a solution in a timely manner, how to analyze, and trouble. A big part of my early career was troubleshooting problems and failure modes. Being able to look and understand the scope of things and then relay it back to a person, not only verbally, but in a written form through a technical report. So a lot of that experience came through that type of what I did. I'll be honest, I never had a lot of exposure to the back end of the business, the financials, the HR side of things. I've always had, quite frankly, a bad relationship with HR because what was interesting. So, the side note, and I'll pat myself on the back, is I officially graduated WGU yesterday with my MBA.
It's
Um,
awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations. So while you're building this business, you decided to get an MBA
Yeah,
on the
I
side just
started
for the heck
last
of it, huh?
year in January last year, and like, you know what, I'm going to do this. But I did it because looking through the curriculum of what involved, every part of that curriculum was something I've touched as a business owner. And I was like,
Yes.
okay, I've got this experience. Some of it's worked, some of it hasn't. But if I can learn something at a theoretical level that can help me take this to the next level, I wanted to do that. And so, yeah, I jumped into it whole both feet last year. Where I'm going with that is one of those classes was all about human management and resource
Yeah.
management and understanding what human resources is supposed to do. And I think it's one of the messages I think that gets lost in corporate America is HR is they're standing there tapping their fingers and handling their hips, watching the because they're upset because you're watching the clock, or you can't say something because the HR lady's coming. That's kind of the
Right.
message that corporate America gives the HR department, in my opinion.
Yes.
And but there's so much more to it. And when you look at an HR environment and what they're designed to do and what that organization is designed to do in terms of help build the business and help get the right people in and help them develop their talents and help them make sure they're happy and provide that whole scope of who we are as humans, it put a totally different spin on it for me.
Definitely.
And I was like, okay, that's interesting. I learned that in corporate America? No. But there's other opportunities to learn, and this was one of those avenues when I went, okay, does that make me an HR expert? Absolutely not. Not even close. But
But you're framing HR differently
yeah,
as well. Like I was in corporate America, and I'll tell you what, I've had really good HR people that are focused on the people and focused equally on the people in the
yeah,
business, because you have to have both, and people are critical for the business. And I'm a real people team person
right,
anyway, and culture. But you had these folks that are like, okay, we have to make strategic decisions. And with big corporations, HR wants to minimize risk. They don't want you to get
yeah,
sued,
yeah,
right? But also, when somebody's not doing their job, we got to freaking hold them accountable. And if they're still not doing their job, we got to get
yeah,
rid of them. And I don't care. We can't wait a year to do that. We actually have to do that. So, but the good ones are smart and strategic about how we do that. And then how do we identify those people that are killers
mm-hmm,
and invest in them and grow
yeah,
them? And that's really, we can do that in our businesses as we grow and look for successors to everybody in every
yeah.
position. So that's super
Well,
powerful.
and certainly understanding better just the scope of what human resource management means, it's allowed me to view this whole hiring process a little differently. And how am I building
Yes.
my culture? And no, I don't have an HR department taking care of it, but I can still set the framework of what that's going to look like as a company grows. Maybe someday I'll bring in an HR manager, who knows? But at the very
Mm-hmm.
minimum,
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's about the people. I mean, I want to treat the people right, so I've got to make sure I'm bringing the right people in that appreciate that and will reciprocate. And
And having the right people and the right team, and then having them work together is so critical.
yeah,
And the thing that people, when they start businesses generally, is like, oh, I don't want to be a jerk and fire this person. It's like, no, you're actually helping the rest of the team when you fire them,
Yeah.
because you're allowing this person to disrupt the team and their
Yeah.
experience,
Hard
right?
lessons learned right here. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's at the
It's
end of the
so
day, I
true.
want to
Okay.
help people, but then it's like, as somebody succinctly put it to me one day, is like, you've got to stop trying to help the world, start thinking like a business owner and help those that want to help you. Okay.
Yes. And that want to help
And that want to
themselves.
help
Because look,
themselves.
dude, if you
Yeah.
don't want to grow,
Yeah.
right? So true. Okay. So let me ask you another question. I think this is relevant because I love to take non-business
Mhm.
experiences and learn from them. And I think everybody should, like I've learned a lot from like surfing. Surfing, you got to make a decision. You got to make it quick. If you don't make a decision, you're going to get rolled and you're going to drink a bunch of water.
Sure.
Okay. So that's right. You got to be
Yep.
decisive. Tell me about, so you out of college, BYU, you did a mission trip,
Mhm.
long term. Tell me how you used some of what you learned there and apply that in business, either in your past job or today.
Yeah. That's interesting. So yeah, I came out of Canada. I was called to serve a 2-year mission in Veracruz, Mexico.
Hmm.
In 1990 is when I left. So yeah, I got down there and I spent 2 full years. It was a proselyting mission, so it was teaching people doctrine of the church, about our faith. But he also spent a lot of time just in service, learning to
Yeah.
serve people, learning to be humble. That's an
Mm.
interesting one for a 19-year-old young man.
Yes.
Is jumping into not only a different culture, but a different culture that has a whole different layer of economics that I've just never experienced up to that point in my life. And so
Yes.
I learned what true poverty. I learned what true poverty actually meant. But I also saw what true humility looked like. And some of the
Mm.
happiest people I've ever met are some of the poorest people that I've met.
Wow.
And so that experience left a big impression on me at that age. And so learning to serve and learning to just be with people, as much as I'm still not a great people person, it really caused me to get out of that comfort zone and approach people. And hey, this is who I am. And of course, on top of this, I'm learning Spanish. And
Yes.
that, I mean, again, just as a skill set, it's like, wow, that was pushing 40, 30 years ago now. And I haven't lost my language. And so just that benefit alone in my career of having that second language of being able to speak
Mm.
Spanish has been huge, right? Whether I'm translating or
That's
whether I'm
amazing.
teaching in Spanish, it's allowed me to travel through South America with my past career and do training and teach and support. And even today, it's doesn't matter what I'm doing. I can be working with a contractor or whatever, but being able to communicate and have that ability has been invaluable. But outside of the language stuff, I mean, as a 19-year-old doing that type of work, it takes you out of the day to day. It takes you out of the normal 19-year-old environment. I'm not chasing girls. I'm not doing other things. I'm focused on what I've been assigned to do for 2 years. And so
Wow.
I would like to say it taught me a level of maturity that I don't know if I would have gotten otherwise. It allowed me to come into
Yeah.
post mission, allowed me to come into school with a different attitude.
Mm.
I got married at a fairly young age. I got married to my wife when I returned. We met and we got married about a year later. But we
Wow.
started our family. But just from what I saw with life and what I at that point I had, I didn't need anything else. It was let's go. And
That's amazing.
yeah, I mean, my wife and I this year will have been married 33 years and 4 kids and some grandkids, and it's awesome. And looking back, I can't tell you how many people would criticize me for being married so young or having children young. And it's like,
Ah,
yeah, great. Your cars love you. Do they? I mean, or does your home really matter that much? I mean, I don't, it's
yeah.
all
Does the size of
perspective,
it
but
really
I'd like
matter?
to say that that is a lot of what I brought back from my experience was just, okay, there's more to life than money. There's more to life than taking care of myself. And especially when you're interacting with people that get up every morning and don't know if they've got anything to eat for the day. and
Literally, they
and
don't know where they're going to get their food.
they don't know where their next meal's coming from, or if they're going to have another meal, or they're inviting you into their home to sit because they want to hear a spiritual message, and you're sitting on a piece of 2x4 across two bricks on a dirt floor, and it's obvious the kids haven't eaten anything, but they're offering you what they've got. I mean,
Isn't that
it's
something?
it's an incredible feeling and an incredible learning up experience that as a young adult, where else would I have seen that?
Oh my God.
So
Yeah.
yeah, did it prepare me for corporate life? I don't know if it prepared me for corporate life, but it set a mentality, and for me, it changed my perspective on life. It changed my perspective on what matters. And I think just that perspective allowed me to chase my career a little bit differently with a little bit of a different focus and more focused and better understanding of who I am as an individual, even at that point in my life.
Yeah, the whole idea of humility as a leader or as an owner or as a worker, and the attitude of gratitude, that thankfulness is something that is like 10x when you go and see what other people, how they're living. It's
Yeah.
like that's such a good
Yeah.
message. Okay, so I'm going to turn the corner
Sure.
here. So I want to ask you. So you decided to buy Conserva
Hmm.
Irrigation. Tell me why irrigation? Why Conserva? What was your
I get that
trajectory?
asked question a lot. It's like you went from oil and gas to sprinklers.
It's
It's
liquid.
liquid. A couple things is I had been looking at, I've been doing my due diligence on a number of franchise models and franchise companies. As I mentioned earlier, Conserva was one of them that I had started to rule out because of this idea that I didn't think it was going to work as a semi absentee owner. So I've been
Yeah.
looking at some of the other ones. Um, Process, I kept meeting with the business development people, and a couple things stuck out to me about Conserva in of itself is I like the message of Conserva. As the name implies, we're not just a sprinkler repair company. We're about water conservation. We're about helping and educating homeowners on how to irrigate their yards properly. Are they efficient? Are we every time we turn? I can't tell you. Every time I see sprinklers running, you see more water running down to the storm drain than it's going onto the yard itself. So
Yes.
as a company, the core values of the company resonated with me. Protecting the environment, being efficient about it, doing it smartly. So there were some core values of the company that, as an individual, just resonated with me. But then the next level of that was the core values of the individuals that that operate the brand president,
Mm.
the people he hires, the type of organization he was building. When I was going through the due diligence process and meeting with the various business development people, the brand or the development person I was meeting with on the conservative side was the only one of the group that ever asked me what my wife ever thought about what we're talking about. And that resonated a lot with me. But they went through a very pretty diligent screening process on their own end because they didn't want to just bring in somebody that had a bunch of money that wanted to start a business. They wanted to bring in the right person or people that had similar
Yes.
core values as the company and as the brand president. And so when they were asking me about what does my wife think about this business, what does my wife think about what we're learning, what does my wife think about this, it spoke a lot to me about they're not just looking for investment. They're not looking for somebody that's just okay. Here's another territory. We're going to get more royalties out of this guy. It was they're looking for somebody that can come in and share those values beyond just that the cash side, a lot more than just the money. And so it was right in that time period that things started changing on my career that I'm like, okay, maybe I can look at the idea of retiring. And so I picked up this thread again with Conserva. We went out and did their I can't remember what they call it at that point, but it's where we go out and meet the brand team and they basically interview us,
Sure.
put faces to names, and is this really what we want to do? And so yeah, just the core values of the company just for me resonated across the board. And again, from a product point of view, as far as a service point of view, I just like I say, I liked it. I mean, certainly the people think, well, it's just a sprinkler. It's not just a sprinkler. There's actually a lot behind it. There's a lot of hydraulics involved. It's an understanding of what happens when water flows through pipes, what happens when it comes out, and what are the laws that govern it. And there's electronics that are involved, and so there's a lot of. And then how do you do it correctly? There's a lot involved in designing a properly designed and functioning irrigation system. And so, from a technical point of view, that appealed to me, right?
Yeah, you
I'd
can
been
solve
looking
your
at the
problems.
franchises like for disposal and other things that, yeah, okay, was a service, but this part resonated with me because I saw opportunities at a technical level.
I like it. And so you're saying Joe Schmo just with some in the back of his truck is not going to design you the most optimized sprinkler system.
The reality is we spend more time fixing those systems today because they don't work. Yeah, they're cheap.
Yes.
Yeah, you can get it cheap, but at the end of the day, it you're going to have dead spots or overwatered spots, or most of the water is going where it's not supposed to go. And is it the right? It's not just throwing some heads in the ground and turning it on. And
Yes.
and then especially if you want to comply with state laws and federal laws and different things like that. I mean, people don't realize that irrigation is actually a regulated industry. I have to have a license in order to be able to
Yeah.
do this.
You can't just put pipes in the ground, and they don't want you hooking in the water
Correct.
system and having backflow getting into the the whole system.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah. The backflow process is huge. There's a whole industry dedicated to just backflow prevention. As irrigators, that's part of what we do because we're tying into a water supply. And yeah, we can get into people that don't understand it. It's like they just get mad because it's, oh, well, it's expensive. Yeah, but it's critical.
And so with water prices going up and going up every year, just like most
Hmm.
things, but water prices especially have risen, I think, more than almost anything else over the past 10 years. And tell me about it because we were just talking about this beforehand. It's so stinking cool. We always knew you could save water by the right design and the right
Hmm.
heads. But tell me about the test you just ran.
Yeah. So one of our messages as a company, and it is again part our core values, is about being responsible and using technology to improve the irrigation process on any yard. So one of the products that we use that we endorse heavily is a product by Toro called the Precision Spray Nozzle. Um, and the reports are and what they promote is a more efficient spray so that you can use less water while you're watering your yard or your shrubs. And anecdotally, there's been reports of, well, yeah, it can reduce your water consumption by 30-40%, improve your efficiency of your system. And that's what Toro promotes, and as a brand we promote it. But one of the things when you look at spec sheets for spray nozzles, for example, on the irrigation side, they don't publish the most critical factor, and it's called, and what it is distribution uniformity. How evenly does the water leave that nozzle, and how effectively does it get to the ground? Okay. And that's where the efficiency comes in. And so Toro has made the claims and has stated that, yes, these precision spray nozzles can reduce your water by 30-40% because of a more efficient arc pattern going out to the yard. So me being me, I wanted to prove it.
I love it.
So yeah, just this last week, I took my son's property. They have a fairly new home, and so it's a fairly recently installed system by the builders. Perfect front yard to do this test in. It was kind of a not quite square, but it had 9 heads on and then 4 heads on the other side of the sidewalk, so a single zone. And you can do what's called the distribution uniformity or DU audit on irrigation systems. There's irrigation audits that are at a next level of understanding what your irrigation system is doing. One of those components is called distribution uniformity or DU. How well does the water get to where it's supposed to go? And so you do it. You can buy some catch cups that are calibrated catch cups that measure how much water flows into them during a cycle. You place them strategically around the zone. And so we set this up in the yard and made sure everything had a fair chance of getting out of the ground. The heads were raised to the right height and different things. And then so we took the base system, which was typical 4-inch heads that are normal in the Houston area with a typical spray nozzle that you can buy from Home Depot or Lowe's, which that's what's on most people's systems, and ran the system for 5 minutes. And so we had strategically placed the catch cups so that there was one offset the head and then one in between the heads, because in an irrigation design, you're supposed to have what's called head-to-head coverage. The spray from one is supposed to reach the head of the other, and so you get overlap. And so we put one in between to catch whatever was coming across. And so we ran the system for 5 minutes. Then we swapped just the nozzles that were on these heads with the Toro Precision Spray nozzle and reran the test for 5 minutes. And then me being me again, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to take this a step further. We promote using 6-inch heads in your lawns here in the Houston area rather than 4-inch, because St. Augustine should never be cut short. It's supposed to be long. And so a 6-inch head will get it above the lawn, whereas 4-inch, we're always raising them. They're never getting the water where it needs to go. So
I'm not spraying it. They're not high enough.
Yeah, they're not high enough, and they sink over time and whatever. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to take that same test, put the 6-inch head with those PSNs on, and see what kind of improvement we might get from even doing that. And so, the summary of that is the baseline system in a 5-minute test, only 30% of the water coming out of those heads got to where it needed to go. And it used, in those 5 minutes, it took 86 gallons of water to achieve that. So, okay, that's interesting. Ran test number 2, which was just changing the nozzles to the Toro Precision Spray nozzles, and reran the test. The same 5 minutes, nothing else changed. In those 5 minutes, it used 50 gallons of water, but 54% of the water got to the heads that it was supposed to go. So right off the bat, that one simple change, an immediate, a relative improvement of 81% of distribution, getting water to where it needs to go.
And saving
a whole using bunch of 36 gallons or 30 gallons, call it 30, 35 gallons less water to achieve better coverage. And then my next test, 3, same PSN nozzles, changing out to a 6-inch head. The gallonage is still used, the same 50 gallons, but the efficiency improved another almost 12%. It hit a little over 64%. So 64% of that water now got to where it needed to go. And so, from a distribution point of view, it was like, okay, that was huge. When you spin it backwards and say, okay, what does that mean for the average homeowner? That was one zone, and I ran it for 5 minutes. Most people in our area run a spray zone for 10 minutes, 3 times a week through the irrigation season. And most people don't adjust them for the hot and the cold. It's just straight 10 minutes every time. So you think about it, that 86 gallons of water, it actually is 172 gallons because it's a 10-minute run. Times, call it anywhere between 4 to 6 zones that are spray zones in most people's yards. Times 3 days a week. Times, call it 44 weeks of the year, they're running the irrigation system. When you look at the amount of water being used, and then you look at a reduction just by putting those spray nozzles on. I mean, I have to double check the math, but I want to say it's like savings like 86,000 gallons of water by simply changing a spray nozzle on there. Now, translate that to water prices now. And it's not even so much the water prices, it's all the distribution fees and all the other stuff that have come with it. And people forget that they're typically paying sewer on top of those water prices.
The sewer is more expensive than the water.
So, it was
and you pay for it whether it goes down the sewer or not, by the way. It doesn't matter.
Really interesting study from my side is it validated the claims that Toro has made about the efficiency of these nozzles, but it also just reinforced just how powerful the proper product can make, because simply by changing nozzles, we saw a massive increase in efficiency. Putting the right head in improved it even more. The design of the system wasn't great, so had we did a proper design adjustment and moved some heads to where they needed to go, it would have improved the efficiency even more. And then you put a smart controller on it. Now all of a sudden you've got a system that is working efficiently when it needs to be, and we're not throwing water. You're not throwing money down the drain.
Because that's just it. When the spread more efficiently is going to the right place, you're going to cut way down on the watering time. So the 86,000 in this case turns into 100,000+ gallons of water that you're not, first of all, wasting for the environment, which is horrible. But secondly, also, you save money on that. That system's going to pay for itself.
Pays for itself very quickly.
Or that adjustment is going to pay for itself in no time in this case.
Yeah, a full zone upgrade like that, if you were to do full heads and 6 zones or whatever, you would pay for itself within at least 2 seasons. And then after that,
it's amazing.
I mean, people don't realize that the most expensive part of the irrigation system is the water.
Yes.
It's the nonstop water bill that constantly is there. And so a little investment up front can not only save huge down the road, but it just takes so much stress out of the irrigation system because it now can do what it needs to do. And our soils are so different here. I mean, most people don't realize, I mean, after 8 minutes, water's not soaking into our soil. It's running off.
It's just running off because it's all clay.
So
anyway,
how do we get
right?
more water to the soil in a shorter period of time? It's just the efficiency side of this is so powerful.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so I don't want to keep you too long. So, and by the way, want to plug real quick. Y'all have started dealing with the plants and the lawns because it ties in perfectly with the water. So you get the water right, and then you get the lawns right, and you get the plants right, and that is also money saving, but also is powerful.
Correct. Yeah. Just launched a landscaping company called Northern Lights Outdoor Services. But the idea is we're irrigators first. We're already out there, but understanding the irrigation component is critical to lawn health. And so over the years, as people have asked us about, do we do XYZ with yards? And at this point, it's like, okay, I'm tired of saying no, but I really want to focus in on the fact that so much of our lawn damage and shrub damage is because of the watering side of it. So if we can get the water under control, and then we can come in and give it the proper treatments in terms of liquid aeration services or the right fertilization program, if we focus on the lawn health and the shrub health, and they just go hand in hand. And coming at it from the irrigation side, I think just makes so much more sense because, I mean, that's what we know, and that's what we're good at. And understanding the irrigation helps us understand how to troubleshoot the rest of the system in the yard in general.
And then you got people in there you already know and trust that have been vetted, and if you don't want just all these random people running through your backyard, so then you've solved that problem as well. So that's awesome. Okay, so thank you. This has been awesome. I got 3 quick questions for you, very serious, and then we'll be done. Speed round. Here we go. If you're an animal, what kind of animal would you be? Cheetah. Fast, efficient, and looks good.
Yeah, exactly. Right? A lot thinner too.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Grandfather.
Nice.
That's what I want to be.
Nice. Already started on that journey. That's awesome. And then finally, what do you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered for, there's a couple components, but I'll talk from the business side. I want to be remembered as somebody that's developed a business that people want to be at, that I've created a culture that allows people to grow, allows them to ask the questions, allows them to make mistakes. But I want to be remembered as somebody that has provided an environment that makes people better.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Trevor. I appreciate your wisdom and your transparency, and just like, I love what you're doing. I love what you're building, and I love what you're doing to the community, for the community and your people and the greater world and your grandkids.
Yeah, too, appreciate it.
All right. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Liked what you heard? Let's make it real. Schedule your free coaching session today at sugarland.actioncoach.com.